He thought hunger would be the hardest part. It wasn't. The hardest part was waking up every day while life quietly removed things from him one by one and still pretending he was okay. First, it was comfort, then certainty, then plans, then pride. One day he was buying data without thinking twice. Another day he was calculating transport money down to the last note in his pocket. One day he had a garage, movement, routine, direction, then suddenly, silence. Not one dramatic collapse, just many small losses happening so close together that his mind stopped reacting properly. He started eating differently, not because he wanted to, because survival changed the meaning of food. Rice in the morning, rice at night, spaghetti just to fill the stomach, no enjoyment, just enough to continue moving. Even taste became unimportant. The body adjusted before the heart did. Then came the day he had to ask for food. That one sat differently inside him. Not because the woman would reject him, but because asking forced him to face what life had become. He sat there wondering how to even bring it up, a grown man, thinking carefully about how to ask another person for rice and beans. But life surprised him again. The woman did not make him feel small. She welcomed him like someone already expected, cooked for him, talked with him for hours, refused to let him leave early. Packed food for him to take home, and somewhere inside that house, something in him rested for the first time in weeks. Not his problems, him. That was when he started seeing life differently. People revealed themselves quietly. One person said no immediately. One disappeared after promising. One avoided him completely. And strangely, the honest no started feeling cleaner than fake hope. At night he would lie down exhausted, but his mind would keep moving, thinking while tired, thinking while praying, thinking while eating, thinking while trying not to think. Some days he felt like a robot, still waking up, still praying to Hajjud, still reading, still training, still posting YouTube shorts even while anger burned inside him asking, "What's the point?" That anger became its own companion, because he had given 6 straight months to something that still had not paid him back. Every day he entered the app with the same sentence inside his head, "If not today, maybe tomorrow," and tomorrow kept moving. Then life hit him with another quiet humiliation. He sold a solar battery he once bought for $150K. After damage and time and struggle, he sold it for $18K. The kind of moment that makes a man stare silently afterward, not because of the money alone, but because it feels like watching value collapse in your own hands. And even worse, he already knew the money would disappear quickly. Food, data, small needs, then back to zero again. Still, he continued reading for exams. That confused even him, because his heart was heavy, but something inside refused to stop moving. He discovered he could no longer study the old way. Forcing understanding only made his head tighter. So he started reading lightly, quietly, without wrestling the pages. And slowly he noticed something strange. The mind was absorbing things even before understanding arrived. That realization gave him relief, not excitement. Relief. Meanwhile, outside him, life kept changing. His beard became fuller, his face harder, his body stronger from constant training and stress. Even his mother noticed something different in his voice, a tiredness he could no longer hide. But he still protected her from certain truths. She thought the garage still existed. She thought at least he still had that. He let her believe it, because sometimes protecting a mother means carrying information alone. And one morning she found out indirectly that he could not even afford to send her 500 naira data himself. Another person had to do it. That broke something inside her quietly. He heard it in her voice immediately. But there was nothing to explain anymore. No shouting, no blaming, just silence. Still, he did not run home. That was the strange part. He stayed, not because he had answers, but because something inside him refused to collapse completely. Every day became its own emotional weather. One day hope, one day anger, one day numbness, one day strange calm. And somewhere between prayers, football highlights, cooking, reading, feeding cats, and posting videos no one promised would work, a different version of him was quietly being formed. Not through motivation, through endurance. He stopped asking life for certainty, because certainty had disappeared long ago. Now he only asked for enough strength to continue the next day cleanly. And somewhere near the end of all that exhaustion, something unexpected happened. Not outside, inside. The money problems were still there. The uncertainty was still there. The videos still had low views. Nothing around him suddenly became easy. But one night, after all the overthinking, fear, disappointment, and silent pressure, his heart stepped back toward Allah again. Not emotionally, not temporarily, deeply. For the first time in a long while, the world became quieter inside him. The obsession with results softened. The constant need to control tomorrow weakened. And the heart that had been staring at numbers, plans, survival, people, delays, and disappointments started looking upward again. That was the real change. Not success, not money, not the plan finally working, something deeper. He started opening the Quran differently, not just to read, to understand. And strangely, while life outside still looked uncertain, inside things became calmer. Verses started entering places words from people could never reach. And he realized something frightening and beautiful at the same time. Maybe Allah was not only delaying things, maybe Allah was also reshaping him while he waited. Suddenly, many things looked different. The struggle, the delays, the people who disappeared, the plans that failed, even the exhaustion itself. Not meaningless anymore, just painful lessons carrying him somewhere his younger self could never understand before. He still wanted things to work. He still wanted relief. He still wanted stability. But now, those things no longer sat above Allah in his heart. And that changed everything quietly, because the heart that was once drowning in dunya finally remembered its Lord again. Nothing outside had fully changed yet, but inside, a different man had already started emerging. Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah.